Where is Twitch? There is Twitch. There's a search bar. There is Race Spec. There is stream. And there's my wonderful voice blaring out of the speaker. Great. So everything is working as it should be. That is fantastic. Well, we shouldn't be too far away, folks, from the start. I mean, we're already a minute late, which isn't completely ideal, but it's not the worst thing in the world. We're not set for a full field of cars. We're only going to have 16, which is more than enough. And Mr. Race Spec, who is in charge of this for tonight, just given us the ready up signal. So we're set to go racing. When the timer hits 0, start up my intro as per normal. Hello everyone and welcome to round 6 of the Elite Series here on Race Spec Esports. I'm Everingham, your lead commentator for this event, and for tonight we'll be competing at Suzuka International Racing Course for the Japanese Grand Prix. Constructed in 1962 and designed by famed architect John Hugenholtz, the circuit was originally created as a testing and proving ground for the latest technology developed by the Honda Motor Company. Over the decades, the circuit's popularity grew and eventually gained itself an audience with the world of Formula One in 1987. Since then, the racetrack is now often considered to be not one of the best racetracks in Asia, but also in the world. It measures up at 5.81 kilometers and consists of 18 turns and a single DRS zone that leads down the main straightaway into turn 1. It's a primary overtaking area on the racetrack, but drivers can try and pass into the hairpin at turn 11 and into the Casio Triangle chicane of turns 16 and 17. With a small amount of overtaking opportunities, it's obvious then to understand that qualifying today will be important to achieving victory. Now, before we focus on qualifying, there is a bit of news to go through first from our previous race. There were no stewards reports submitted in by the drivers last week for the race at Marina Bay. As a result, the final finishing positions remain completely unchanged. In the Drivers' Championship, it's Jack Humphreys who leads the way on 120 points, followed by CZK in the Alfa Romeo on 107. So 13 points separating the top two in the Drivers' Championship. 8 points behind the Alfa driver, we have Ryan Bell in the Alpine on 99, followed by Pozzi on 72, with Spicy Salami rounding out the top 5 on 60 points. In the Teams Championship, it's quite a bit tighter. We have Mercedes at the top on 134, followed by Alfa Romeo on 125. Alpine round out the top 3 on 110, followed by McLaren on 108, then Williams on 96 points. But that's pretty much it in terms of news. I can now introduce my co-commentator for tonight, who is once again KD 1997. KD, Suzuka's one hell of a racetrack. What are your thoughts about this Japanese racetrack?
Yeah, well, it's definitely a track that you don't want to have a big margin for error, do you? You don't really have much areas to get wrong because there's not many runoff areas. It's just all gravel and grass everywhere you go. But yeah, it's very fast, got a lot of technical sections, mainly the S's, of course, of the first sector. And then, of course, there are some tricky traction zones, particularly at the exit of Dunlop Curve and obviously at the Kobayashi hairpin at turn 11. But yeah, no, it's a very technical, very demanding racetrack, for sure.
In a proper driver's circuit, you have to be on the limit around here, but as you rightly mentioned, if you go that little bit too far, there's not a lot of margin for error. There's grass and gravel everywhere, so if you go off the track, you'll likely lose control, more than likely end up in the barrier somewhere around the racetrack. Blake Stevenson will be the first driver to attempt the flying lap in the special liveried Williams. The Golf colours being displayed here. It's a wonderful looking machine. Right on board, give you a tour of this 5.8 kilometre iconic Suzuka circuit. Down towards turn 1, easily the best overtaking area on the racetrack. We flat out through the right-hander and heading into turn 2. 4th gear, back on the power, shook shifts up to 5th as the back end steps out. Into the S's we go. Turn 3, turn 4, the right-hander, then the left of turn 5. 6th gear, modulating the throttle, round turn 6, up and around turn 7, Dunlop curve. And then we head towards the Degner curve of turn 8. This completes the first sector. Up towards turn 9 now, a corner where the real-life drivers had a lot of trouble. The virtual drivers have to apply that same knowledge, because the car can bottom out quite easily on that outside curve. Around curve Ayashi corner, turn 11 is tight hairpin. Then 200R, turn 12, absolutely flat out all the way around as we head up to Spoon. Turns 13 and 14. 6th gear, clips the first apex. Down to 5th, back on the power. Nice and tidy on the exit. And up through the gears on this back straightaway of sorts. As we head up towards the most iconic corner on the Suzuka circuit, 130R. Absolutely flat out around this left-hander. Have to be careful not to run too wide as we head into the Casio Triangle chicane. 3rd gear through both corners as we now head around the final turn. Bit of a wiggle up towards the line with DRS open, and that's the benchmark for everyone else to try and beat. A 1 minute 27, and it's immediately beaten by Kebab.
Yeah, 26.9. But, yeah, almost stepping on the back end there. I do really love that Gulf livery, by the way, from Williams. That does look quite amazing, as we pointed out. Ryan Bell, well, that's not a total surprise that we've seen. Sets a really good time, a 1 minute 26.4, nearly half a second clear of Kebab.
Got a few drivers out there on intermediate tyres. They don't want to set a flying lap on the soft compound just yet. Riley McKay jumps up to P2 in the pink Alpine, does a 26.6. It's nice to see a few drivers running a few of the designs that Codemasters uploaded. Adds a nice variation of colour. It's nice to see not everyone in a black car like I had last week in Pacific Tier 1. It was quite irritating trying to work out who's where on the racetrack when everyone's a black dot. So, thankfully, a few more drivers with colour around.
I was one of those black dots in the America Series. Sorry about that.
But, you know, what can you do? We're not meant to be in this kind of situation, KD, but we are. And we have to make the best of it, so...
Yeah. Thanks to Codemasters screw up the equal performance, of course.
Again. That's the thing. Again. They've done this before.
Again, yeah.
It's quite frankly unbelievable at this stage of the game cycle. I mean, we're already several months in and we're still having issues, and there's new developing ones as well. So, yeah, Codemasters really need to get a handle on this soon. And it's not just us that are getting frustrated. It's top tier racing leagues. They're also getting frustrated. We've got yellow flags everywhere right now as Kebab's left the session. As Matt Plevy gets a roadblock right in front of him that just about gets out of the way. He'll do a 27.3, 5th fastest with that lap time, just in front of iContrast, who was in pit lane. Yeah, as you can see, some of the drivers on the intermediate tyre. Pato does a 31.9. He's not pushing though, he's not using any battery, so he's just running around trying to get his eye in at the moment. Got Big Al out on track, making his way out of Spoon and heading towards 130R. Absolutely flat out towards this section, building up to a speed of 312 kilometers an hour. Absolutely flat out, not dipping below 300. Ridiculous speeds, ridiculous G-forces that the real-life drivers have to put up with. Up towards the line now, he'll set a 26.9. Goes 3rd fastest with that. Jinbin out there as well. He's running low on fuel. He's in the Tribute Mobile that you'd be quite familiar with, KD. As he heads up towards the line, he'll set a 27.5.
Yep, I ran that in the America Series in Singapore. I know, well, because there was no... Obviously, we don't have a Ferrari livery for the World Car, so I thought, oh, whatever, I'll just go with something closer, so that's why I stuck with the Monza livery, which is quite beautiful also.
Yeah. Now we got Humphreys out on track on slick tyres. This ought to be interesting to see how Jack will fare. In the Williams-mobile as well. Yeah, it's a very, very nice looking car. I wish Golf would spend a bit more money to become a more prominent sponsor on the car, because I do enjoy a Golf livery, especially when it looks like this. But I can understand as well that the company who owns Williams, you know, they've already got a fair decent stake. What are they called again? Dorlton something? I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
They got a majority stake within the team, so Dorlton Ventures. I just saw it there on the side of the car. There we go.
Oh, that's yeah. Okay, on the side pod. Dorlton Ventures.
Yeah.
It's so small though, just to see.
It is.
Because you can't really see it on the side pod. Even when it's the original car, you can't really see it that well. Or at least I can't.
This ought to be good, seeing what kind of times Humphreys can do. We'll get rid of the tyre graphic, don't need that now. Everyone's on the soft tyre, no one else is doing runs on intermediates. Alright, what can the championship leader do? Out of the final corner and down the main straightaway. He'll open DRS and head towards turn 1. Shifting up into 8th gear, building up to a speed of 326 kilometers an hour. He chucks it through 1 and through turn 2. Back on the power, eventually reaching full throttle just before the outside curve. Through turn 3, then turn 4, into the left of 5, 6th gear. He keeps it in, no, he drops it down to 5th gear through turn 6. Back up to 6th gear through Dunlop as he heads up towards the first sector split. He hasn't put a time down, so we won't get any massive reference point, but a 30.8, that seems to be pretty quick. Stevenson was a little bit slower than that. He was in the 31s to the first sector, and he's currently P6. Around the hairpin at turn 11, we'll head towards 200R, absolutely flat out, hugging the inside line. Yellow flags out in the racetrack, just a few slow cars making their way round. Into the left of Spoon Curve, turns 13 and 14 on the racetrack. Very tidy there from Humphreys. Up towards the middle sector split. What will the clock say for our championship leader? It says a 1 minute 9.8. Purple, according to the middle sector split on the minimap. Through the chicane and around the final corner up towards the line. Humphreys will set a 26.294 and jump to the top of the board.
Yeah, very good lap. Beat that Bell's time by just nearly 2 turns.
Whoa! Yeah. Speaking of which, he spins it at Spoon.
Gee whiz. Yeah, facing backwards. He's in the right direction at least. Yeah,
hold on, Kebab. I'll see what I can do. You'd think the coordinators would be more over this. Let's see here. Okay.
I don't got him on my EA ID, unfortunately.
I don't think I have him either. I could check though. I've got a long freaking list.
Kebab's back in.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. Alright. Okay, Meanwhile, about to end this lap.
I only saw the message then. I thought, oh, gee whiz, Riley! I come back and that's what I see. I see a person damn near killing themselves at the pit lane entry.
Yeah. Jesus. Well, Ferrari probably the next to cross, I believe, in that... Oh, no, he bails as well.
He's in the all-red mobile, proper Ferrari, that is. All red. No carbon fibre, no black, no nothing, all red. That's a Ferrari.
Yeah, yeah, he's got the dark red. Very nice. Red, if I'm totally honest. Why is Blake on the intermediate tires? That's quite interesting.
Thomas McInnes, a new name that I haven't recognised from the check-in. Currently P7 now with a 27.0. CZK, I believe, was the driver who just jumped up. 26.5 is the time he set. Only 200ths of Ryan Bell in P2. Big Al making his way around Kobayashi corner. Yeah, thank you very much, Jiggles. Yeah, I can agree with that kind of statement. It's not a particularly enjoyable game anymore, F1.
No.
As a whole. The gameplay isn't the worst in the world, but the amount of issues that we have to try and combat with this make it incredibly frustrating to play. Because it's always down to us, the users, to try and work around the developers' problems. And it just creates a massive headache. If the game ran smoothly, we didn't have lobby issues, and Codemasters actually implemented some online features that could help with inviting people, setting up some proper lobbies, it would probably be a much nicer experience. But they don't do that. They're too busy selling bundles. Yeah, I agree. We don't get many camera angles. All I get to choose between is onboard and offboard, and the rest of the cameras are completely up to the game. So, and that's all we get.
Yeah, it would be nice if we had like if it was like also a proper intro to like what it is an actual broadcast.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that would make this a far more enjoyable experience, but they don't really listen. They just rely on the...
Oh! Well, Apollo's done.
Well, Apollo didn't want me to talk smack about F1. He wanted me to talk about him, I guess. He threw it into the wall there. Gee whiz.
Simply did the same thing as I got on board with him at the second... actually, no, it's not second day. No, it's just turn 9. But, yeah, no, he almost threw that into the wall as well.
Well... One car down, and he's done a 27.1. I haven't seen that all too often, someone throwing it into the pit lane wall at Suzuka. Haven't seen that all too often. I've done it once myself, so I'm not going to talk down on him. I've done it once. But that was when the bump was a thing. If anybody remembers that in previous F1 games. That bump around the final corner here at Suzuka. Oh god, that was awful. It was so bad going around that turn every single time. You had to be so careful on the throttle, because if you get a really bad bump, the car can kick out sideways and yeah, you can end up in the wall. So, a bit like Barcelona's pit entry now.
Yeah, well that stupid bump,
Ugh.
which they claimed they fixed, but didn't do so, obviously. Yeah, I don't think I've ever been victim to that as far as like the pit entry, hitting the pit entry wall around this place. Yeah. I've done it before, but not here.
Yeah, no, I've definitely done it here. Back on F1 2019, it was rather embarrassing. Back during a time where I really didn't like this circuit. On a pad, it's a tough racetrack, but after I raced on it for a while, I started to understand what you have to do around a track like this. There's sort of a fine line between being committed and being patient. If you're too overly committed, you can find yourself just millimeters outside of the edge of the racetrack, and then suddenly you're in the barrier. So you need a little bit of patience. Just try and get yourself into a groove around a racetrack like this. So our contrast jumps up to P8. Because you just go that little bit too hard, that little bit too soon, you can throw it into a wall. But this track equally rewards a driver who is pushing those limits, getting right up close to the edge, as many drivers' tracks do. As CZK, I think he's retired in the pit lane, I think.
Yeah,
so his qualifying session's done. So there's a big game of risk versus reward, and really good drivers like we have in this lobby are able to work on that edge basically all the time in both qualifying and in the race. Now, I'm going to stop rambling about the racetrack, talk about the drivers. Ryan Bell is about to start a flying lap. He does have, I think that's GeForce Pato right behind him, and he's currently plumb last in 16th position. Bell will make his way out of the final corner and down the main straightaway in the Germany Mobile, and heads down the main straightaway towards turn 1. Building up to a speed of over 3 hours, Pato retires from the session. 325, I reckon, kilometers an hour into turn 1. Around turn 2, 5th gear, full throttle at the exit. So we now head around 3, then 4, the left of turn 5. Keeping it in 6th gear, modulating the throttle quite well. The car looks stable. 5th gear out of 6. 6th gear, round 7. Up towards the first sector split. Kebab's retired from the session as well. Plevy, a 5 grid place penalty. Again, this is what I mean with the problems with the game, and I wouldn't be surprised if Matt called a red flag as soon as we line up on the grid either. Meanwhile, Bell is up by 0.2 of a second. Riley has just begun his final flying lap as we head through turns 1 and 2. I 100% bet that wasn't illegal blocking. I reckon that's just the game being complete rubbish.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either. We'll see, ACW. I'm not terribly sure. We'll see what he does. Bell's heading up towards the middle sector split. What would the clock say? Is he up a bit more? No, he's actually pretty even through the middle sector compared to his previous best. He found about 2/10 in the first sector. So he needs to just be nice and tidy through here. He looks pretty tidy through there, I have to say. And around turn 18, that car looks fast. It looks stable. Crossing the line. It's not enough for pole, though. He misses out by 8 thousandths of a second. Big Al, he's well down. I don't think he's set to improve. McKay's making his way out of Spoon and up towards the middle sector split. Ferrari Pro, his session's done. He's P6. Humphreys, he's down to the first sector as well.
Yeah, and Ferrari improved by 2/10, but he couldn't improve to gain a position. McKay, though, is purple. We'll keep an eye on him.
He needs to nail this final sector, though. He needs to find a whole chunk of time to try and challenge Humphreys for pole position here at Suzuka. He crosses the line. It's P3, a mega effort. He misses out on 8 thousandths in taking P2, and Humphreys goes back into pit lane. So there you go. 16 thousandths of a second separating the top three at the end of qualifying.
Jeez. Even after Jack invalidated the Castillo triangle, he is still on pole position. Only one lap he had to do, and it was just close. That close.
That's quite impressive. It says 15 thousandths, but yeah, if you do the math proper, that's 16. But there we go, the end of qualifying. What a fine end to the session that was. Bell and McKay gave it everything, and they only just miss out, literally centimetres off taking pole. There we go.
Very close.
That's epic. I love tight qualifying sessions like these. That's absolutely fantastic. CZK not terribly far away, just 2/10 off in P4, followed by Big Al, Ferrari Pro, McInnes in P7. Then we have Jinbin, Contrast and Kebab, who rejoined mid-session, so he didn't get a full run in, so I reckon he'd be happy with the top 10. T-Mac, P11, followed by Apollo, Stevenson, Matt Plevy with a 5 grid place. He'll be starting from the back, I think. Then we have Spicer and G-Force Pato. Pato unable to set a representative time in that session. 16th fastest. Now I'm going to quickly dart my eyes over in the Discord, see what's what.
I did check on that. No lobby restart. We're going straight forward.
Interesting. Very good. Yeah. Now, I did get information it was a dry race. Thank you, ACW. But overcast.
Slightly overcast. Yeah, tight qualifying. They feel close to the previous weeks. Yeah, I know what that's like. Jeez, it can be quite exhausting too when you're in a field that's so close.
Yeah. At least it's a nice thing to know when you're in touching distance, like seriously close touching distance. It means then you can reflect on your lap and be like, where can I find that little bit extra time? Because you always can find it. A race driver is always able to find those extra hundredths of a second. Maybe 10th might be a bit difficult, 10th or 2. But 100th, yeah, easy for sure. But yeah, those clouds. Yeah, don't underestimate clouds, man. They're menacing things. If it starts raining, then that will definitely shake things up. We have it on approximate weather as well, not perfect. So if it comes up with clouds on the weather forecast, it means there could be a chance of rain. But no formation lap here. We're going straight into this. 5 red lights, and we're underway here at Suzuka. It's a nice start from Humphreys, who covers the inside line almost immediately as Bell goes round the outside here at turn 1. He needs to be very committed here at 2. He doesn't have the grip. He doesn't have the speed. Humphreys takes the lead, and that was a huge slide from Bell. He gathered it up well, and he keeps P2. CZK in third. A bit of drama here in the midfield as we make our way through the S's. Some side-by-side action heading up towards Dunlop Curve. Stevenson with the inside line. Kebab fighting round the outside as we head towards the Degners. It's line of stern stuff for the top 10, and now the midfield sorted itself out. So a tidy start all round. drama kept to a minimum. Drivers, you have to be very careful running wide there at turn 9. So easy to beat the car on the curb. Some more side-by-side action at the hairpin. They'll get themselves sorted though. It's T-Mac and Plevy battling away. T-Mac gets in front. And Plevy a decent start from 16th on the grid. He's up to P13 already.
Oh, a little bit of caboose there with him and I believe that was Blake there, or was that T-Mac? It was T-Mac. Yes. Sorry, there at the spoon curve. Yeah, a little bit of contact, but they get through. But yeah, no, apart from that, well done by everybody to get through the start. So far, everyone's fine, no damage. A little bit of a move. Look at, oh, was that? That's a bit of lag. I don't know if it's lag on your end. It's definitely for me. A little bit.
It's alright on my end for the moment. Bit of shuffling going on up and down the field. And all in all, a very, very tidy start. There are your leaders as Humphreys is under attack once again. Bell trying around the outside. Who's run out onto the curb? He loses time, but he doesn't lose position. He stays in P2. CZK holding third. McKay in fourth. McInnes just behind in fifth place. And our golf-sponsored Williams. Just behind him is Big Al. That's the top 6. It's all very line of stern stuff. This is what you tend to see here at Suzuka during the early laps. Might see a dive bomb or two at the hairpin. That's really about it. Or running wide. It was one of the tribute liveried alphas there. That might have been Jinbin in P8. You want to be very, very careful with the curbs here, Kay. Oh, as Ferrari Pro almost goes into the back of Big Al.
Yeah, very close. Right to the back of him for sure. Yeah, no, it's pretty much, yeah, this is what you tend to see, like you did mention. One thing though is that the derriere is going to be something the drivers will have to keep a comprehend, because it's not the greatest thing to deal with if you're stuck behind the car in front of you.
Particularly in the first sector where you need that downforce.
Yeah, it's not very good. I think Bell is going to try to line up a move here. Look at the speed as he gets towards the Casio triangle.
Got 2 overtakes going on at the same time. Bell tries to take the lead. It doesn't work. CZK moves through into second place. McKay up to third. We're on board with McInnes, who sets a new fastest lap. Drafting our way down towards T1. His Williams not particularly quick in a straight line. That's very different to the real life car. As CZK goes right round the outside to take the lead here at Suzuka. Those medium tyres working a treat.
Yeah, no, that was very close with the top 4, but they got through that very well indeed. CZK into the race lead, but he needs to pull gap a bit now, as DRS is now going to be enabled here. Remember, there's only one DRS zone that the drivers have to deal with, and that's down the main straightaway.
So if CZK can pull out that 1 second margin, or someone ran awfully wide there, that might have been eye contrast.
No, it's Kebab. That was Kebab in the Las Vegas car.
Yeesh, he was incredibly wide. But no, fantastic start there from CZK, but on an alternate strategy from the rest of the top 5 on the medium compound tyre compared to Humphreys, Bell, McKay and McInnes. They're all on the hards. Big Al is on the mediums as well. Same with Ferrari Pro, but they're properly stuck in that midfield, KD. They're going to have a tough time making their way through.
Yeah, that's a bit of a tough thing to deal with. The only thing they could try to pray for is a bit of an undercut that would work. Oh, hello, look at them send there by Riley McKay. Oh, the Casio triangle.
Trying to defend here from McInnes. It's now a drag race, and I mentioned earlier the Williams isn't particularly quick in this straight line section. He's doing all right. He's dumping the battery to try and keep the fight alive. Down the inside here at turn 1. You get the car in front at 2. McKay's got decent drive though, plus the inside line at 3.
I don't know if I want to go side by side through this section here. That's tight.
They're making it the work though. It's fantastic stuff. McInnes around the outside. McKay, nose in front, but he's on the outside for the Degner here. Turn 8. Big wiggle, and they get it sorted somehow. McKay takes 4th.
Wow. I didn't think that would be possible. Well done by the pair of them.
To be side by side for that long and keep it on the tarmac, that is good stuff. Fantastic scrapping from those two. Sure, it ain't over yet either. We got a fair old mix-up of strategies going on. I'll be curious to see what Mr. Al here can do on these mediums. Can he find a way through? As you said, KD, undercut is probably what he's going to aim for to try and gain track position.
Thomas is in a bit of trouble with no battery. I see the red light flashing in the back of that Williams car. He is in a bit of trouble.
Bell looking very, very fast in P3. He closed right onto the gearbox of Humphreys. Couldn't find a way through, though. He might have an opportunity here. He's got a decent charge of battery. Looking around the outside again at turn 1. Wheel-to-wheel contact. They get it sorted. Humphrey... Oh, sorry, no. McInnes and Al battling away here as we head through turn 3. McInnes hanging on to 5th, Al in 6th. So Al's not mucking around. He wants to try and pick his way up through the top 5 if he can.
Yeah, he needs to do it. He needs to do it quickly. That's what I gotta say before those tires start to go away, just a little bit. But yeah, Thomas is out of battery though. It's he has to hold on as best he can. That's all he can hope for. Yeah,
absolutely. You can see that down to 13%. He's dumping it on the straights because he just doesn't have the straight line speed. He's got decent corner speed, but as you can see right now, he's dumping all of it. Even though he has so little in reserve, he's dumping whatever he can to try and hang on to the track position. I'd like to mention it as well before I curse it out of existence. Everyone is within a second of each other.
Yeah, that is... Yeah, no, you're right.
After 5 laps, that's pretty impressive. Suzuka laps, I might add.
Yeah, no one's really broken away from anybody.
No.
There's moves, though.
Yeah, that's right. And these are for points. Top 15 score points here at Race Spec. So these positions do matter. T-Mac, Stevenson, drag racing down the main straightaway. Apollo wants to get involved. Big Al's overtaken. McInnes, that's for 5th. They're fighting back. McInnes takes back the place. Good stuff. What about this? T-Mac gets in front. Apollo in 14th, followed by Stevenson, then Pato. Pato doing the best he can at the moment on those medium compound tyres. He just needs to keep surviving. That's all he really needs to do. Just get it home, get it to the finish. Good stuff everywhere at the moment. Great stuff. Tight battling everywhere. And now I have cursed it out of existence because the gap between Ferrari Pro and Kebab is now 1.2. T-Max trying to...
Oh, contact! Oh, hello. That was... I think that was Bell hitting Humphreys there.
Yes.
At the Kobayashi hairpin.
See, that opens up a margin. So CZK has an opportunity, but I don't think he'll be able to fully seize on it. Because as you can see with Humphreys, 100% charge in his car. He's got so much battery to play with. CZK not doing too bad. He's on 65. But he doesn't have the sheer amount that Humphreys has. Curb cam here at 130R. See the sheer speed the drivers are able to carry through that corner. See a change in position potentially. Not quite. Jinbin will be able to line up something here surely. Ah, no. Kebab pits in. Once you get off those tyres.
Yeah, probably will go onto the hards, I'm gonna guess.
Yeah, more than likely. I wouldn't doubt it for a second.
Yep. Hard tires. Oh, look out. Fair enough.
Try and go to the end on those tyres. You never know, strategy might fall favour in your direction. Put yourself in a pretty decent position later in the race. You never really know with Suzuka. Great fight at the front of the field. Everyone's still tightly bunched up. We've got a top 7 here. CZK all the way down to Ferrari Pro. That's the battle for the race lead. Or Bell again, slightly overshooting. Turn 11. Compromising his run out of the corner. McKay is close. But he won't be able to find a way through. Not quite close enough, it would seem.
Yeah, not really anybody's in a position to really do anything. It's just follow the leader, pretty much.
Try not lose too much time to those around you. Try and not make mistakes, which is a lot easier said than done around Suzuka. Now through the Casio triangle. Humphreys half a second behind the race leader. Or yellow's out.
He spun at the Casio triangle. He must have had contact. That was at the entry at the Casio triangle.
He's still running, that's the main thing. He hasn't boxed either, so he hasn't got front wing damage. He's on the medium compound tyre, doesn't want to pit onto the hards just yet. So he's just going to stay out, try and soldier on if he can. Perhaps try and close the gap up to Pato. He's only 2.8 behind, so if he can knuckle down, set some decent laps, might be able to cut down on that lead. Of course, though, he won't have DRS for a fair chunk of that. So he's got to do a lot of work in the first sector and through the middle sector. Try and catch back up.
Yeah. He's not far away from it, so that's the best he can hope for. But yeah, it's just pretty much, according to this map, you got like two groups, two different DRS trains pretty much.
Yep.
It's just, yeah, not a total surprise, but yeah, that's just pretty much how Suzuka is.
Got to give credit to Jinbin here. He is trying to get within that 1 second range of Ferrari Pro. And look at him. He is dumping the battery. He's using everything he's got to try and catch up to that train. He's a 1/10.5 off. 1.1 is now the gap. Can he get there? No.
No, 1.1 was the gap when he got to the section point.
Contrast might be in a bit of trouble here. Might get swamped. Spicer, not the bestest exit in the world. He's got to run. With the power of DRS, he'll move through into 9th. Will T-Mac do the same? No. Don't think he's close enough. So Spicer moves into 9th position in his B-Tech AlphaTauri. Very nice. I must say though, it does look like an AlphaTauri design.
It looks like the 2022 car.
Yes.
Or maybe mix of 22 and 21, I'd say.
Honestly, I wouldn't put it past the AlphaTauri livery designers. Like, hey, this thing kind of works. Stick an AlphaTauri logo somewhere around the car. Yellow's out. Pato? Yeah, it is.
No, it's yeah, Pato.
All the way down now in 15th position. Mistake at turn 9. Nothing major though. No front wing damage either. Back to our leading group. Here they are. CZK, Humphreys, Bell, McKay, McInnes, Big Al, Ferrari Pro, Jinbin doing everything he can to try and close that gap. Still not quite close enough to get some DRS assistance. Assistance that he desperately needs to try and get in this fight. Oh, wiggle there from CZK. Oh, he had a proper wiggle entering the final corner. Kept control of the car. See Humphreys close in, but he won't close in by enough to challenge the race leader. And I don't really think he wants to challenge the race leader. He's currently holding second. He's got no real threat from the cars behind. Might as well just hold on to what you got. Put yourself in a really strong position in the second half of the race. Try and win.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Just, you don't really need to do anything. Just play more of the conservative approach until you get your pit stops out of the way.
Yellow's out again. Who is
that's sector 2. That's
Jinbin,
I believe.
Oh, yeah, contact! Gee whiz, what was that? He teleported through that car. Oh, and contact again!
Oh, more contact. Apollo Pepsi and Spicer. Oh, turn 9. Oh, dear, dear.
I won't fully blame anyone on that, but Jinbin's and Spicer's car teleported through one another at Degner at turn 8. And Spicer's car was thrown wide. I'm not sure if Sebastian lost control or something like that. But yeah, he and Apollo collided.
Yeah, it looked like Apollo just had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
At least I think. I don't think anyone was really at fault.
Well, with the way he spun, I reckon he was down the inside. Well, at least far enough down the inside that contact happened. So yeah, I don't think he had a huge amount of control. I don't think he deliberately dived it in. I think he was just trying to take the corner, and he got tripped up with what happened between Spicer and Jinbin. So
yeah, I probably agree with you there.
Could be different though. We'd have to wait and see if there's any reports about it. I wouldn't doubt it. If we're correct and Apollo's quite the innocent party in this, he probably would report because he ultimately got shafted in that. So understandably he would report, but we'll have to wait and see. We've still got this 7-car train, and it's now definite 7 cars because there's a 7-second gap between P8 and P7. Ain't that lovely? All nice and symmetrical.
Very nice. Marvelous. But yeah, I'm looking at Kebab's gap between himself and CZK, who's obviously our current race leader. It's 23.5. He might be touch and go once CZK goes into pit lane. Oh dear, Jimmy gets a penalty at Spoo. Running a bit too wide.
Just compounds issues, doesn't it, for the Alfa Romeo driver. So it's a long race though. We haven't even reached the halfway mark yet. So it's Al's in. Al is in pit lane, and we might have a change in position here. McInnes looking down the inside, dumping whatever battery he's got. Here we go again. McInnes and McKay take 2 through the S's. And McInnes actually gets in front. What a move. There at turn 2. I thought they were going to go side by side again through the S's, but no. Move was made.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Pretty good indeed. It comes out behind Kebab. So yeah, there you go. That's a bit of the story of the undercut there. In some case, Kebab though has got Apollo to deal with, and he's needs to get by him quickly if he wants to make it totally work.
And I don't really know if Apollo's in the mood to give up any positions right now.
Probably not.
Probably not, yeah. So we'll see how this little dynamic works then, with guys on fresher tyres catching up. Yeah, the Las Vegas car, was that included in the special edition of the game, or?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. All that. You had a bit of lag for me.
The Las Vegas livery, was that included in the special edition of the base game?
Yes. Well, actually, I think it was what was it again? The Champions Edition, the early one.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it was included in that.
Whoa. Big old lift there from Kebab. He lets Big Al through. Interesting.
Oh, hello. He's gonna try to get by Apollo.
They get it done.
Who's Apollo goes off a bit. I was gonna say he was playing Houdini. Weaves about on the main straight.
Is that a I'm sorry weave, or what are you doing weave?
I have no idea. And I think he had DRS when he did it too. Ferrari Pro, meanwhile, is out of the pits behind these guys as well. Oh my goodness.
Hard to say. It's difficult to read. What would the language be? Driver ease? I don't know. Yeah, that weave, was it I'm sorry, or what are you doing, or what the hell was that, or, you know. Because a weave could mean a lot of things. It all depends on the context. So, 0.6 of a second separating CZK and Humphreys. CZK would be close to getting ready to pit off those medium compound tyres, put on a set of hards to go to the end. Bell and McInnes. Oh, Bell's sideways there. Keeps control. The race leader still doesn't pit. He's going long on these mediums, KD.
Yeah, he's going quite long. I'm not sure if that's a great idea, though.
Honestly, I completely agree.
In fairness, because track position is very, very key. Obviously, as you pointed out here at Suzuka. Yeah. Oh my goodness, his player nearly hits the pit lane entry wall.
Oh, hello.
I don't know if you caught that, but
no, I did
yeah.
not. Players almost did a big whoopsie.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was as soon as he got towards the pit entry line, he nearly hit the pit entry wall on the left. Yeah.
Ferrari Pro gets by Kebab. I think Kebab just let him through. And he has a bit of a fuel issue as well. He's got a yellow light on the telemetry, so he's running pretty low on fuel. That's what the yellow light means. Ferrari Pro gets by Pato. Couldn't go by Pato. I thought he got by Al then for a second. I'm like, how did he do that? And no, he got by Pato. See here, back towards the front. CZK leading the way. 0.6 of a second, the margin. Just chilling, just vibing, out in front, leading the race, you know, the usual. We head through the chicane and up towards the final corner. Does he finally pit? No. He is still going on those mediums.
Maybe he's gonna go medium soft, I reckon.
Maybe. That'll be a hell of a stretch on the soft tyre. Spicer and Stevenson pit in. It'll be a long stint on those soft tyres to try and make that work. Alternatively, he could try and pit in at the same time as those behind him. That way he can maintain the track position over these four drivers. Perhaps it might be worth a try to just try and hang on to this track position. But it'll be fascinating to see, particularly Big Al, where he comes out relative to this group when they finally make their stops. Because Al's on a decent sized undercut. And he's got clear road as well. He's 7.3 seconds behind Jinbin. So he can set some pretty quick lap times right now. Whereas the likes of Humphreys, Bell, McInnes and McKay, they kind of have to chill. Because there's no way through on CZK. So...
No, and he's holding his ground. Yeah. Al just needs to put on some quality laps, like you mentioned pretty much.
Bit of respect there shown between McKay and McInnes. Change of position there for P4. Malaysian's still going. He's not stopped yet. Someone's in. It's McKay.
McKay, he's going into the pits. Nearly puts it into the wall.
And Alpine gets the first garage stall. Don't see that all too often. Alright, where are you, Al? Coming out of the chicane onto the main straightaway. And McKay on those medium compound tyres is going to be very quick on them. Al passes him. What's the margin? Oh, in fact, Ferrari Pro gets in front too.
Ferrari Pro gets him too. Yep. Right. So, the gap is 1 second to him and Ferrari Pro. Interesting.
3.5 collectively to Big Al. So, Al should be in front of everyone once the pit cycle is completed. But can he hang on to that track position? And based off what we already understand of F123, the answer is a decent sized no. Fresh tyres make a huge difference in terms of lap time pace. There's a massive difference, even between 10% worn runner versus 10% worn rubber versus 0% worn rubber. There's a big difference in terms of lap time. So, yeah, Al might get track position here and now, but whether or not he'll hang on to it remains to be seen. These guys are still staying out, though. They're not pitting. Tell you what, KD, maybe all of them might be going for the soft tyre.
They could. Hey, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. And if they do go to the soft tyre, I imagine they'll be pitting on lap, probably 19 or 20, I reckon.
Yeah.
Oh, we got really close on Ferrari Pro. Unsurprisingly, he'll overtake him too.
Yeah, DRS doing the work there through into 6th position. He's now got 2.5 seconds to close in to Big Al. And once he's done that, he can try and challenge him for what will be the provisional race lead. Still got a ways to go though, folks. Nowhere near done at this stage. But it's amazing how much the pit cycle spreads out the field. All the varying strategies playing their part. Yeah, that's a fair enough point, Brock, there. Oh, yellow's out. Hello. It's Apollo. Yeah, he's not going to be a happy chappy after this, is he?
No, not at all. Been a bit of a tough race for him, I believe.
I mean, he was on the outside edges of the top 10, and now he's plumb last, and the only thing that could save him is a safety car. Nice front wing cam, by the way, Codemasters. I would have loved to have that during qualifying. That would have been really nice. Instead of giving me it for the last place car. Meanwhile, out in front, CZK and Humphries are in. As Brock Bear pointed out in the chat, Humphries doesn't like finishing on the softs, so he's pitting onto mediums. But this guy will not pit onto another set of mediums. Soft tyres.
I do like his aggressive approach, though.
Absolutely.
Okay, sets fast slap, and also gets by them, as you can see. Pro's still hanging on to McKay, in fairness to him. Interesting to see.
Evidently, those hards aren't faring too bad relative to the fresh medium, so he's doing a good job right now, but he's going to have two quick cars on his butt in only a matter of moments. Those cars being CZK and Jack Humphries. They're going to be lightning quick on those tyres. So when did the top two blink then? Bell, McInnes leading the way 1-2. Do they keep stretching these hard tyres, or do they finally blink and put on some fresh rubber? Bell's pushing. He used every bit of curb at Spoon. You can see it from that angle. He used literally all of it. He is, and look, he's out of battery. He is plumb out of battery. That's how much he's used right now. He is pushing so hard to try and get some track position. Try and maybe even just try and hang on to track position. Or pull up. Oh, he will. He will. So they're both in it.
Yep. Alright, well here we go.
Mediums for McInnes. Bell. Mediums as well. Yellows. Gin bin.
Gin bin. Bonnet, Spoon. Al takes the race lead.
Here comes McKay. Down the inside at 1. He now takes the lead. There we go. Al with the big undercut. It's worked for a grand total of 2 seconds. McKay took the lead from him at turn 1. And now should try and set up a bit of a margin between himself and Al. And more importantly, CZK in the Alfa Romeo. Wow, that was fast through Degner. That was prop. Wow, the grip. He just drove by. He just drove by.
Yeah.
That wasn't an overtake. He just drove by.
And he's closing it in quite rapidly. To
Dude said, hi Al, bye Al, in the matter of a second. That
I do agree with that.
is
CW.
ludicrous speed. And yes, needs to build up a gap ASAP, yeah. He can't muck around on these tyres. They're going to die off pretty quick. Humphries overtakes Ferrari Pro, so that's P4 now for the championship leader. Big out, trying to hang on. Trying to get some DRS help. Ryan Bell, a 3-second time penalty. That will seriously not help things. We have a new race leader on lap 20 of 27. CZK returns to the front. And now he needs to pull away through this sector.
Oh, he needs to pull a pretty decent sized gap in a good rate of knots too.
Yes. 6 tenths. 6.5 tenths. We go through Dunlop 7 tenths. 7.5 tenths.
Just watching this car go through that section, it's just immensely good. Just shows you the grip of how these cars just go through that section.
It's fantastic. 8.5 tenths through the hairpin. It's obvious to me as well, CZK, he does have a slight issue. His car is not hugely quick on the straights. McKay was able to just drag himself a little bit closer to CZK on the straightaways, on the flat-out sections. As Ryan Bell, around the outside that was, at Spoon, at the beginning of Spoon. So he's into 5th, but again, he's got a huge problem with that 3-second time penalty. It's going to hurt him quite a bit. Humphries moves through into 3rd now. Alright. Battle at the front, intensifying. Who's made the right calls?
Does Al fight back though to Humphreys? I probably would imagine no. Especially with Humphreys dumping the resources. 6.5 tenths though between the top two as in round turns 1 and 2. Around the B corner, as I think we all should call it now.
B corner. Yeah, I could work with that at turn 2 after Seb's little display there. Sebastian Vettel's little display. It was nice to see him back at the racetrack. He found it a bit sad that he was at Suzuka and not racing around it, because he does like this place, does like it quite a lot, and understandably so. Yellow's out, Apollo retires. Oh, that's a safety car! He's actually crashed! That's at the final corner. Did he Montoya it? What did he do?
He must have. That's pretty much what the car was. I couldn't tell exactly because I wasn't on board, but he must have done that for sure.
Did he run wide into the outside wall like Montoya, or did he do the dreaded hit the pit lane wall while coming into the pits? I reckon it's either or. That is a huge blow and a complete game changer. KD, I reckon everyone has to pit.
You got to.
You got to put on softs right now. If you don't, I mean, we've seen the speed CZK had on those tyres. You got to box. There is no choice in this. You box, and the leaders are all coming in. Bell, okay, he stays out.
That's not a right call. If I'm totally honest. You gotta go to the softs.
Everyone's boxing. Everyone is boxing. You have to box. Spice is definitely boxing. He didn't box last week in Tier 1. And he got screwed over from it. So he's boxing this time. I said to box, and he's boxing. But yeah, you gotta pit. You have to pit for fresh tyres. Bell is the only one. The only one who has stayed out. Kebab stayed out as well. Yeah. Track position's nice, but those soft tyres are going to be so fast. As Apollo leads the session.
That's quite interesting. Oh, quite interesting. Well, quite interesting, and also I was going to say, more importantly, quite disheartening for Apollo.
It's just, it looked pretty good at the beginning of the race for him. Like I said, he was fringing on a top 10 result, and if he kept his nose out of trouble, I reckon a potential 8th was on the cards. It was going to be pretty tough to catch up to the top 7, that being Bell, CZK, McKay, Humphreys, Al, Ferrari Pro, and McInnes. They were all in the world of their own. So if Polo kept it clean, that was an easy potential 8th on the cards. And after that incident at Degner, it's all gone downhill, and it's ultimately resulted in him crashing. And he's out of the race, which is a shame. But this is racing, it happens, unfortunately. It does happen. We got some interesting calls here. The biggest one is Bell. I don't know about this call. He's already got a 3-second time penalty. He needs to make that thing the widest car on the grid. It's a German car. He needs to make it as big as the Berlin Wall. That's what he needs to do. Just cover the whole track, split it in half. That's what he has to do to try and hang on. But I just don't know how he can do it. He won't have the grip to.
Well, as Reagan's told Gorbachev, he'll probably have to tear down that wall once all the other cars get through.
Yeah, that's it. And that 3-second time penalty will do it, because even if he can hang on to maybe a top 10, that time penalty is going to kick him in the gut. We saw what happened at the beginning of the race and how tight everybody was. No one really broke apart until about, 7, 8 laps in. Even after 5 laps, we mentioned it. Everyone was within a second of one another. And every single driver will be looking to do the exact same thing. They don't want to lose time. to those in front. They don't want to get a time penalty either. Stevenson is on the back foot too, down in 11th. Same with Jinbin. They all have penalties. And those penalties are going to play a huge, huge factor at the end, especially, as I've already mentioned, if the competitiveness keeps going. If nobody gets separated, then those time penalties are going to hurt. They're going to hurt hard. So we'll see what Bell can do. I suppose everyone's caught up now. This should be the last lap behind the safety car. Tell you what, we might not need a tyre graphic anymore. Just remember, Bell's on the medium. Same with Kebab down in 12th. We'll bring up the penalty graphic because this will be an important talking point from here to the checkered flag. These penalties and whether or not any more drivers get them, which is entirely possible. Entirely possible.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
I'll say though, CZK, he's in the hot seat. He is properly in the hot seat. Decent chance of a race win on the cards here. Just needs to try and keep it together from here to the checkered flag. Of course, folks, that's a lot easier said than done. Right on board with Bell. We wait for him to take off for the restart. Through the chicane.
Gone yet.
Oh!
Bit of bump, I think there was bumping. We're back on the green. At the exit of the final corner.
Lap 24 of 27 has begun. Here comes CZK out of the slipstream. Looking round the outside into turn 1. Bell sends it in. CZK looks underneath. But Bell covers beautifully and hangs on to the race lead. Out of the first 2 corners. Through the S as we go. You can't do much through here, KD.
No, you cannot. You got dirty air as well. How is he going to fare through the dump-off curve? He needs to get through this safely, which he does. Very nicely done. Making the way towards the Dana 1, or Dana curve, through turn 8. Clobbers off the curve. That's fascinating to see these cars do that. It really is. As they make their way to Kobayashi hairpin. Here comes CZK. He can't find a way through. Oh, I thought he would, but he just can't.
Bell defending beautifully at the moment, trying to hang on to every bit of track position he has. It's a drag race now, round 200R towards Spoon. CZK can't fight round the outside. He's got grippier tyres, but he doesn't have enough grip to try and get past Bell. Down this back straightaway towards 130R. Down the inside, contact, wheel to wheel, and CZK backs on him.
Oh, that was the only touch it goes. Riley McKay, here he comes into Casio Triangle.
Contact! Unbelievable! Through goes Humphreys into the lead. Oh my goodness me! The leaders balk each other, and Humphreys moves to the front.
Unbelievable! It's not over here because Al comes around the outside. He swoops on by. Fantastic stuff.
New race leader then with 3 to go. Out to the lead. Humphrey second. McInnes in third in his first race in the Elite Series. High Contrast is battling with McKay at the moment. Through the S as we go. Bell. He's now a cork in the bottle. Those tyres won't feel great after what happened at the chicane. Oh! Tight stuff in the midfield. Oh!
Oh, McKay goes off. He's off the road. He's off the road. He definitely has damage though, thanks to that. He's got end plate damage because of the contact that happened at the triangle, Casio triangle, but gee whiz.
The drama, folks, it's real here at Suzuka, and it's definitely not over. Big Al has the race lead. Humphreys is in second, McInnes in third. Can Humphreys challenge the race leader? He's got more battery at the moment at 90% compared to Big Al with 60. Pato gets a 3-second time penalty then, down in 14th place as we head towards 130R. There, great battling all the way through, interrupted by a big bout of drama here at the Casio Triangle. And we have got 2 laps to go. Guess what, KD? They're only going to have 1 lap with DRS. Humphreys needs to make it count.
Right. Yeah, he needs to stay close, really close. A little less than 6/10 actually, I should say. McKay is retired. Well, understandably, after getting damage there on the last lap. Gee whiz, or 2 laps ago. 4.5 tenths. Thomas also needs to keep up as well if he wants to fight for the race. Right on debut though, he is doing absolutely superb though. He's still no chance for a podium at least.
Yeah, he needs to top 2 the scrap if he wants to try and battle for the win. I think his first priority now is to try and hang on to the podium. He needs to stay within 1 second of Humphries. He cannot afford to not have DRS down that main straightaway. It is far, far too powerful to lose. So, as you can see, he is dumping every bit of battery he's got through these flat-out sections to try and minimise time loss. Just needs to keep it tidy through the corners and not make a mistake. If he makes a mistake, that's a deal breaker. Jim Bin's crashed.
Oh, that was a 200R he did that at.
Bell's around 2. He's down to 13th now. Oh, I bet he's wishing he didn't stay out now.
Yeah.
He's wishing he pit for softs. All right,
there we go.
Can Al hang on to the race lead? What does Humphries have in store? We're dumping our batteries as we head down the main straightaway for the beginning of the final lap. Humphries closes in to the inside into turn 1. Al hangs it round the long way. Humphries sends it in. Down the inside goes out. They make contact!
Here goes McInnes!
He's into the lead! He's been gifted the lead on debut! I think it's his debut. I'm pretty certain it is. His name isn't in the check-in. He must be new. And he's now leading here at Suzuka. Unbelievable. T-Max in second. Ferrari Pro in third. But it's not over. Humphries is right behind. He could challenge for a podium finish here.
Unreal. What a dramatic conclusion we're going to have here. And yeah, Thomas is building the gap to T-Mac. He might be on course actually just to get the win, right? As long as he doesn't make a mistake.
Look at the Williams go down the inside at Spoon. He fires it through. Humphries to third. There was no way Ferrari Pro could defend that. The sheer straight line speed was mega from Humphries' car.
Absolutely. Let's see, does he go for it at the Cassia track? Look at the overspeed that Williams has gone in third. He's closing, looks outside, so it's the Cassia triangle. He gets it, just about.
Drag race now down to the finish line. It's McInnes who wins the Japanese Grand Prix. T-Mac hangs on to second place by 38 thousandths of a second.
I thought that Humphries would have got him there, but he didn't quite get it close enough, I guess, to get over the triangle. What a race, though, on the final few laps.
Peak drama here at Suzuka. And a guy on debut wins. Thomas McInnes, well done, mate. Fought in the top 7 all the way through and was essentially gifted the win after all that drama in the final few laps. Well done. P2 to T-Mac, his first podium, I believe, of the season, and P3 to Jack Humphries, the sheer speed of that car pushing him onto the podium.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, fantastic.
Well, these are definitely unofficial results of the Japanese Grand Prix. We're probably going to have a few series reports after this one, I won't doubt it. Thomas McInnes, in his first race, from what I can recall, has qualified 7th and won the Japanese Grand Prix, with T-Mac hanging on to his first podium of the season in P2, and Humphries completing the podium places in 3rd. Ferrari Pro finishes a brilliant 4th, Al in 5th with fastest lap. I contrast P6, Matt P7, Spicer 8th, Kebab 9th, CZK 10th. Stevenson P11, followed by Pato. Bell left the session right at the end. Jinbin crashed out with only a few to go. McKay retired after what happened at the chicane. And Apollo Pepsi, his retirement at the final corner, completely changed the complexion of this race. Well, this is a pick-me-up from Singapore, eh?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Had very little drama at Singapore, and Suzuka's like, I've got you, fam. I got you. We're going to have all of it tonight. What was that? What was that? Those final few laps. Absolutely bonkers. And a guy on debut wins. Yeah. I think I'm going to have to dive around in the Discord. I'm looking at the results table. His name isn't anywhere. So
yeah, I've never seen him anywhere.
If he is an existing driver, then he's obviously underneath a different name. But I don't know of any that's even close to him. So I don't know. If he is a pre-existing driver, well done regardless. It shows you what keeping out of trouble does. You know, all the trouble happened right in front of him. He picked his way through, ended up taking the win. T-Mac with his first podium, he'd be stoked with that. And Humphreys, I think he'd be happy to finish on the podium.
I think I figured who it is. It's Ecam.
Is it?
I think so.
Interesting.
Maybe? I'm just taking a rough guess. Here.
Well, that is quite insane. Oh, it might have been Potsy. No? Oh, it could have been an Ecam. Could have been. Don't know. I'll have to check afterwards. That is nuts. Oh, that is proper nuts. All the stuff that happened all the way throughout that race. That was... Not a bad one, KD, eh? Not a bad Japanese Grand Prix.
Yeah, not bad indeed. Definitely had some drama here on the last few laps. At least it was a very interesting race, for sure.
Oh, there we go. So he is. Well done then. First podium since Bahrain. Pacific Tier 1. Not a bad effort there. GG. Well played. GG's as well to T-Mac. Epic P2 for you. And again, congrats to Humphreys finishing on the podium. Extending his championship lead for sure. But man, that was a race and a half. Thank you again, KD, for joining me for this race. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I have.
Yeah, I definitely did. Thank you.
I think, folks, with everything said and done, it's now time for us to end the stream. I have been Lane Everingham. My co-commentator, as always, is KD1997. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching, and we'll see you next week for round 7 of the championship at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for the Canadian Grand Prix. Till then, it's goodbye.